It's new product time.
New.
This is new products.
There's
This is new product section.
stuff.
Okay. Back in stock. Lol shields.
Okay. Yeah. Well, these are back in stock. We now have
White,
Lol shields.
red, green, blue.
In all colors.
And let's go to the overhead. Go to the overhead.
It's really bright, but this is the Lol shield with the Game of Life, and this is the blue, and the blue is just ridiculously bright. It'll reset in a second, but yeah, you can kind of see. So yeah, it's a lot of LEDs. It's like 125 LEDs or something. And if you want to learn how to solder, this is a really good practice kit.
Right, because it's a lot.
By the time you're done, you'll be an expert.
Also, here's a pro tip for anyone who's making any type of Arduino derivatives. If you ever want to test something, the Lol shield is an excellent thing to test because it plugs in and uses all the pins.
It uses pretty much all the pins.
Yeah. So if you want to see if your Arduino derivative works, you pop in the Lol shield, and now you know if it works.
It's the easiest visual test if your Arduino.
And it's kind of fun. It's like, it works!
Whee!
It's bright.
Makes a great belt buckle.
It does.
And other things.
Okay,
so
next
we have
up.
it in all colors now.
Yeah. Next up, we have some updated stuff. So this is this is new product. Sorry, well, it's updated.
This is new.
All right,
similar but new.
These are the what would you say, the flat?
These are the flat, square digital LEDs. So we had long, thin ones before that are like bullet shaped, and then these are flat.
So you could attach them to stuff.
Yeah, they might be easier to attach to certain things. So on the back, there's a little PCB, so the wires go in and out. There's the WS2801 chip, and then the 8mm LED, and then a rubber gasket. So they're still waterproof, and they're easier to attach to flat things. So maybe if you want to make a matrix, or if you want to attach them to something so they stick right out.
Couple quick questions: is that I2C, and are they waterproof?
These are waterproof. It's not I2C. It's a special sort of SPI-like protocol. We have an Arduino library and tutorial on these, so you check out the product page, and it's very easy to understand.
Available on GitHub.
Available on GitHub.
Yeah. I think I use them for the backlighting a headboard instead of the tape, because these can go like in a weird shape.
Yeah, these are more flexible, and they're about 4 inches or 3 inches apart. From one to the other, and you can extend it if you don't mind cutting and splicing wires on. And they're 5-volt running, and there's 25 in a bundle.
Yeah.
Sold bundle.
And then the connectors are broke out a little bit different now, too.
Yeah, this is also updated on the other LED pixels. Instead of just having the 4JST cable, we also had them splice out the power and ground wires. I can show that on the overhead too. Although it's pretty.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's pretty simple to understand. Oh,
oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Picture in picture.
Yeah. So we have the 4JST connector, so you can chain the LEDs together, so you can chain as many as you want. And then we have the power and ground. Ground is blue and 5-volt is red, that are spliced out automatically for you. And so you can chain these together, but also if you want to connect power, because if you're doing a large matrix or display, you want to have power come in every 50 pixels or so. It's really easy to wire up without having to do any soldering. So it's even easier to use. Or you can cut them off if you don't do.
Nice.
Very handy.
Okay, next up. This is also an updated.
We basically updated these to also have the cables split at the ends for easier power wiring.
And these are also beautiful. Do you want to show? Do you have this?
I don't have those because I just thought, but I could turn this on. But I was going to turn this, show this with this slip.
Oh yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Okay. Next up, by popular request, we have some awesome waterproof cables.
Yeah, we have two waterproof cables. I think those are the two that I thought would be the most handy. So I'll show them on the overhead.
Okay.
So the first up is the overhead.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm actually multitasking.
Yeah.
Becky can drive.
How about Becky? Becky can
no, it's okay.
Okay.
Attention.
I just thanks.
I know which one is the overhead.
Look, if this was really professional, then we'd have to get sponsors and do a pro, but we don't have to do a pro.
I'm showing
you know what? You know how good the show is? You can watch it twice. Look at this. Look at this. Little S, big S, little S, big S, mini S. Anyways, okay.
Anyhow.
We'll hire someone to do this one day.
So, this is the waterproof DC connector, and it's a 5.5 outside diameter, 2.1 millimeter inside diameter, DC jack. This is kind of a standard DC jack. And you get both sides. And over here you can see, carefully, there's a little clear ring, and that's a gasket. So when this is plugged in, and unfortunately,
a couple quick questions. Are they only 16 inches long? I think that's...
the cables come pre-cut.
Yeah.
But you can always heat shrink something more on them.
And
I'll actually show the other cable. Can I show the whole thing before we...
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Well, before we answer questions, because
sure.
it doesn't make sense. And this is the 4-pin cable. And this has 4 contacts on the inside.
Oh.
And it's polarized, so you can only plug it in one way. There's a little notch, although it's hard to see, maybe, but there's a notch. And then you can also see the white gasket here, the O-ring.
I'm thinking gardening. These are great for gardening, sensing your garden.
The Garduino project probably needed this.
Yeah.
That was a project I saw.
When you plug it in, the little clear O-ring gets pressed up against the other side, and then there's a sort of a lock nut, and this presses the gasket, the O-ring gasket in.
Yeah.
So when you torque it down, you have a truly waterproof connection. So it's not just weatherproof; it's actually waterproof. It's IP67.
Go underwater.
So it can go underwater. I mean, it's rated for up to 1 meter depth. And after 30 minutes, it basically means like it can be underwater for 30 minutes up to 1 meter depth. But,
you put it in your garden and let it get splashed on every day, it'd be fine.
Yeah, you could even put it underground if you wanted to. And as long as it's not designed to be, soaked for a long time. But I think if you're doing a project like, let's say you're doing a underwater rover or something, this is probably your best bet. I mean, for the price, you're not going to get any better waterproof connectors.
You want to do a couple questions?
Now we can do questions.
Okay.
I just want to explain how it worked first.
So, is the 4-pin connector NEMA 2000? I don't think so.
I don't know what NEMA 2000 is.
Yeah.
It's
and then
IP67.
next up, why are they only 16 inches when you need longer cables for outside cables?
Well, that's the question, is how long do you need it? Everyone's going to want to have a different length.
Yeah.
And so we got these a little bit shorter, and then you can extend them, just use heat shrink, and there's, you just heat shrink over it.
What matters is the connections that are
the connection is what, the connection
you
is
waterproof
the tough
the
part.
other ends, yeah.
Because if we had 1 meter long, people would say we need 10 meters. If we had 10 meters, they'd say, why don't you have 50? And then that's very expensive, and suddenly it's very heavy and expensive. So we thought we would get shorter cables, but long enough so that you have some space, and then as necessary, you could extend it out.
How do you waterproof the solder joint? Like if you wanted to waterproof
heat shrink. The solder joint, you use waterproofing heat shrink, and that's really easy to get. That's available at any electronics shop.
Yeah. And by the way, like this is our first. We got a good set of these. I'll switch to the rest of the other ones.
These are better photos. So you can really see the notch and the O-ring.
And we're going to keep stocking. Basically, as people do cool projects and have different needs, we spotted these and we're like, hey, this would be a good thing to add. Another
thing is how what I really like about the 4-pin connector is it can carry a couple amps and it's actually very slim. And another thing is that even if you're not using a waterproof connector, you just want the lock nut makes it very strong.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it pulling apart.
Good for art installations.
Very,
try to make stuff
very,
like
very solid.
Except
Totally idiot-proof in my opinion.
PC board sockets for these connectors. Oh yeah.
Nope, that doesn't really make much sense if you think about it. What you want for waterproof connectors is wire to wire. If you have a box, you would use like a waterproof blend, or you'd use like a bulkhead connector, which we might get. It doesn't make sense to have a connector for this on a PCB because a PCB is not going to be waterproof.
Yeah, we'll have some cable glands soon. Okay. Yeah, cable glands. All right, next up.
Terminal blocks.
Terminal blocks.
Yeah, this is a terminal. It's actually a terminal bus bar. Bus bar, which is something that they have at South by Southwest.
It sounds like it sounds like it should be a candy bar. Baby Ruth, terminal bus bar.
Yeah. So these are kind of handy little bus bar guys. And I'll show them on the overhead. Well, the photo's really good for them too.
Yeah, sure.
So what is a bus bar? A bus bar it's kind of like a terminal block, but they're all connected together. If you look carefully, you can see that this is actually one solid chunk of metal. It's one piece of brass. And they drill out holes, and then they drill and tap holes on the top. And so this has 7, I think, like M4, M6 screws. And it has 7mm holes in here, and then you can basically put like lots of cables inside. And so this is really good for power distribution, which is actually something that I hadn't found a really good solution for. It's really easy to get terminal blocks, like we have the Euro-style ones, to connect 2 wires together. But nothing for like, well, let's say you want to connect a whole bunch of things to one.
Yeah.
Without soldering, you want to have it be a high current connection. We don't have a spec sheet for this yet. We're kind of trying to get the factory to send us one, and they're kind of being slow. But it is built out of a solid chunk of brass.
Very
so
conductive.
even though I don't have a spec sheet, like 10 amps should be easy, and probably like 30 or 40 amps.
Yeah.
I mean, this is perfect for robotics. If you're doing a lot of LED projects and you want to do, wiring that's distributed, it comes with a kind of a nice plastic covering, and you
looks
can
like Legos to me.
looks like Lego, and you can bolt it down. There's little bolt holes, so this is kind of a nice solid terminal block.
Okay.
Good work, terminal block.
Next up, we're going to blow through these really fast. You can just hold up the box in a second, but we added snap circuits.
Okay. So
this was requested by a lot of folks, so I hope you buy them.
These are really big boxes. There's no way
Yeah,
to
I hope you buy them. Everyone's like, make sure you get snap circuits, because we had asked about another product that we now stock. So anyways, we have the green version, which is one that comes with a crank and it doesn't require batteries.
Stuff, yeah.
And then we have Junior, and then we have the 501.
So we have 4 different.
Yeah, and then XP is like a little microcontroller one that works with Mac, PC, or Linux. So anyways, we don't need to show the box. I put them out here for no good reason.
Yeah.
Anyways, the reason why people were suggesting we stock those is because we now stock Little Bits. These are open source products from Aya, and she's a good friend of ours, and she is probably one of the most well-known and rising stars in the open source world. She was the Open Source Summit, Open Hardware Summit co-chair. She's a TED Fellow. She has an awesome company called Little Bits. And here's some photos that Becky took of them.
Okay.
And Becky's going to do a quick demo of them.
You want to go to the overhead?
Yeah, we're on the overhead.
So they come in, it's really nice. The Little Bits packaging design is really nice. So this little like magnetic closure box is very cool. And then all of the little bits are in their little chocolate spots. And there's like a key that shows what they are. That's just like a box of chocolates. Makes me want to eat them. And then they're really easy to snap together. So this is the power module. You plug it into the battery.
Yeah.
And then I snapped on, this is a FSR.
And that's what they're known for, these little magnetic connectors. It's really awesome. And they're open source, so you can make your own modules if you want to.
If I squeeze the FSR, the little, what's it called, the bar graph will increase with the pressure of the squeezing.
That's cute.
And it's just like it's so easy to unsnap, and then like there's and they can only, they polarize, they're magnets, so you can't really plug it in wrong. And here's the, so that's like the potentiometer, and here's just an LED, and I can make it brighter
Or
dimmer with the potentiometer. So there's like lots of different modules. They're really fun to play with.
Yay! Go Aya.
Yeah. Anyways, we have a great product page that Becky made. You can check out the video with Aya. And let's see, someone wants to know, is the Adafruit TED? Yes, she's Aya is a TED Fellow. Is a plastic keyed?
It is keyed, and there is keyed. There's a little nub notch.
Okay, we have to keep zooming along because we're actually running out of time tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. And by the way, if you guys are really into open source hardware and you want to see an open source product for kids, support Aya and this product. It's version 0.2. You can do lots of things with your money, but if you want to see open source hardware succeed and see this as a product that every school could possibly get, support it. And
little kids can use these. Like I'm gonna get them for my 6 and 7 year old nephew.
I have a blog post going up. 5-year-olds are able to use electronics for this stuff. So please.
I'll be taking this demo unit. Please
consider it. Okay, next up. Everybody really likes these. These are one of our most popular products that we put in the store. We almost sold out of these instantly.
Yeah, let's do the big screen. So
let's do the big
Becky
screen.
and I can demo this.
Yeah.
So I'll show that in detail, but to start, I wanted to show this is the Slippering, and I'll show it in detail. But basically, it's something that, I have a digital signal going here, and it's still running perfectly fine, even though I'm twisting the Slippering, and it can go around, except when I short something.
Start it over.
Yeah. But yeah, you can basically twist a Slippering around, and I'm going to show on the overhead how they work.
Okay.
It's very cool.
Since we chopped
rotationally independent. I was thinking like a lot of people do these interactive dancing projects where they want like you want their Maximus P patch controlled by like the pressure sensors in their socks and their bend sensors on their elbows, and they're tethered to whatever they're working with, or they have to work out some Bluetooth thing. But it's hard to be tethered because you want to dance and twist around. Well, this thing like spins and still maintains the connection, so your wires, your wire harness doesn't get all tangled.
Yeah. So basically, inside, so this is the twist part, and we basically just chopped it in half. And inside this is sort of the stator, I don't know. And it's got little bearings, so there's two like mini bearings, and there's little copper grooves. And each groove is a different wire connection. So there's 6 wires and there's 6 grooves. And then the part that's tough to see is there's little fingers in here. You can barely see them maybe. They're little wire fingers. And so when this is in place, the fingers press up against the copper ring. They're gold plated, and so they maintain connection. And this is just machined to be like perfectly round. And then on the other side, there's another set of fingers. So you have two fingers basically grabbing the ring. So as it rotates, it's like a brush. It maintains connection at all times.
Yeah, we took a hacksaw to cut this open, by the way.
Yeah, so that's it. So, I'll show it.
You want to show it in action?
Well, I'll just disconnect and show it on the overhead.
I mean, you don't even need to disconnect it. You can just.
So a couple quick questions.
Is it the overhead?
Yeah, you want to go to the overhead?
Yeah, I want to show the big, because it has a flange on it. You can cut the flange off, but it's meant to so you can attach this, and then this rotates freely. So it can rotate basically forever, and it can pass like 2 amps, which is pretty impressive.
I was telling my friend about this earlier, and she thought immediately it would be fun to make a silly hat. It's like a little fascinator with like a little spinny LED thing.
It's really good for like robotics. I thought it'd be cool for like a POV project where something was spinning. Mm-hmm. We're gonna try to get the toroidal, disco ball.
Some quick questions. Is there a max RPM? Do we know?
Yes, there is. Check the spec sheets.
Okay.
It's like
do you think the Slippering would pass video?
It should pass anything.
Six wires.
It's just a connection.
Yeah.
I don't see why it wouldn't be able to pass.
Do they have a wear spec?
There's no wear spec. I don't know. These are not really expensive slip rings.
Yeah.
So
you could spend a lot of money on ones.
This is not a $500 slip ring. It's a $20 slip ring. So don't expect it to last, a decade or more. But
these wires, what do you think the max current is on a wire that gauge? Like it's low.
The current, they're not meant to, these are just for the connection. They're not really meant to be like the current passing. I think I put them up to like 26 gauge, but it's rated for 2 amps per connection.
Okay.
So that's a lot. I wouldn't pass 2 amps times 6 wires continuously for hours, but if you're doing a project and you need to spike power, that's probably certainly fine.
Okay. And kind of the star of the show, besides Lady Ada and Becky, is our new product. I'm really excited about this one. This is one of my favorite new products that we added to the store. This is, I'm going to spoil it. Why don't you tell everybody what it is?
Okay. It's a little GPS breakout that's breadboard friendly. We wanted to have a GPS that kind of had everything we wanted in the GPS at a very fair price. We had, here. Show it off here. It's blinking, and also have it in the bag. We wanted to have a small, lightweight GPS module, and we wanted to have mounting holes with it. We wanted to be breadboard friendly, and we liked the MediaTek chipset, which has 10 hertz updates. And we wanted it to be 5-volt friendly, so you could use it with an Arduino, and you wouldn't have to worry about plugging in 5 volts or 3 volts and messing it up. We wanted to have an indicator light, so you can see this has a nice bright indicator light. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to have the ability to add a coin cell on the back, so it comes with a little coin cell holder, and you can put a standard CR1220 coin battery in the back, and so you can use the real-time clock, or you can leave it off if you want something small and lightweight. It has fixed output, so you can do that. It has enable input, so you can control whether the GPS is on or off to save power using any digital pin. It's a separate digital enable pin. You can put 5 volts in, and it will regulate it down to 3.3, so it's safe to use. It's a pretty low power. It's like 40 milliamps or less, which is really good, and it's very high sensitivity. This is the same GPS module that was suggested to me by Chris Anderson from 3D Robotics / DIY Drones. I said, hey, those are really adorable little GPS modules. They're so cute and small, but they're so small. Do they actually do a really good job. And he said, actually, they're the best. He said he really liked them for the size and the weight. They work fantastically well. He said he was really, really happy with it. So I was like, excellent, that's great. And we've tried these out, and I like them. I think this is a really good little GPS, and because we're getting the module and placing it here, we can have it less than $40. So, and hopefully as we buy more GPSs, we can even push the price lower. I'd really love to have a GPS module for $30 or less.
Yeah. Okay. A few fast questions on this. Is the GPS Breakout board monochrome clock compatible?
I mean, the monochrome code doesn't have GPS built in, but it spits out NMEA data, which is the standard GPS data. So anything that's expecting standard GPS data, this can do it. This spits out at 9600 baud by default, not 4800, which is a little bit more common for older GPS modules, but you can adjust that.
Okay. Next up, is it a passive or active antenna and power consumption?
It draws about 37 milliamps while tracking. I don't remember off the top of my head actually, but you can check in the product page. Okay. It has a standard patch antenna. This little thing is the.
Okay. Someone wants to know, can you have an external antenna with these?
These are not meant to have external antenna. We are thinking about having a version that has external antenna, but a lot of people honestly want to have it all in one. So.
Is it 66 channel?
Yes. It has 66 channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, what is the sleep current consumption?
Check the spec sheet or the data sheet. It's very low.
High altitude cutoff?
This does not have high altitude capability, but I am getting MediaTek to send me GPSs that have it disabled. Unfortunately, I can't test it because we can't do high altitude balloons here in Manhattan. I'd love to, but I can't go to jail quite yet.
On a field trip.
But as soon as we get them in, we'll find someone who has a high altitude project, and they said they can turn off the high altitude cutoff as long as they keep the high speed cutoff. I said, well, we don't really do high speed. Nobody really does high speed projects.
How much amperage does it consume?
Again, it's about 30, 40 milliamps or so. Check the spec sheet if you need details.
What's the hardware interface? UART?
It's a NMEA TTL UART.
Great. And maybe someone could post a link to the product in the store if I can't get to it by now.
There's a lot of documentation for it.
Yeah, we have a ton of documentation. Most of the questions are in the product page.
Like how many channels and what's the sensitivity and the range and does it support this and support that.
Yeah. But can you tell me how awesome is it?
Yeah.
It's very awesome. I actually really like this. And we'll be discontinuing some of the other GPS modules in favor of this one, and then there's going to be another revision of this hopefully, which is even awesomer, and then of course has external antenna. So I like these modules because honestly they're less expensive, more sensitive, lower power. I mean, they basically have everything you want in a GPS module. And oddly enough, I couldn't find any other GPS modules that were like breadboard compatible. You can just plug them into a perf board, or you can solder wires to them. So I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you one of the problems because I'm the front end of like customer support is there's so many confusing things out there, and everyone is kind of overcharging people, and they have like 50 different GPS modules, and no one actually can get the stuff to work, and it's wrong. Like it's really confusing. So I'm glad
there's a lot of GPS chipsets out there, and all of them are slightly different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to settle in on like the MediaTek chipset and be done with it.
GPS to end all GPSs.
Yeah, and just have that.
And it's so tiny, it could even be Flora compatible.
Well, you can totally just put that in a anything, in a coat, in a jacket, in a shirt, in your pants, on your belt.
Will this work with the level transistor translator you sell?
Sorry, what?
Will this work with the level?
You do not need a level translator. It's got level translation built in.
That's right.
It's 5
even
volt
better.
5 volt compatible out of the box. All the pins are 5 volt compatible, except for the battery pin.
Will the high altitude version have pulse per second?
We don't know yet. We're still investigating.
On an awesome scale of 1 to 10, what would you consider this?
This is like a solid 10.
Solid 10. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd say 9.5.
Here's the thing about the pulse per second.
I'm really excited about this.
9 point. I am, but at 9.5. Yeah, 9.5.
What's a 10 then?
You can never have 10 because then it's only downhill after that.
The thing about the pulse per second is it's hard to use the pulse per second, and we haven't really seen a lot of people use it, so that's why I don't know if I'm going to be like, because there's a lot of trade-offs in what modules you get, whether you have that built in or not. This one does not have pulse per second, unfortunately.
Okay. So that's it. We got through it. Whew.